To my listeners and viewers, today we come together with heavy hearts to address the tragic plane crashes that have recently occurred in Washington, D.C. and Pennsylvania. These devastating incidents have left us all in shock and in mourning. To the victims, their families, friends, colleagues, and the organizations affected by these tragedies, we at DrWhitty Today extend our deepest condolences. Our thoughts and prayers are with you during this incredibly difficult time. We cannot begin to fathom the pain and the sorrow you are experiencing, but please know that you are not alone, that the entire community stands with you in solidarity and in support. In Washington, D.C., the collision between an American Airlines regional jet and an Army Black Hawk helicopter claimed the lives of 67 individuals. Among the victims were passengers, crew members, and soldiers who were dedicated to serving their country. We honor their memory and the contributions they made to our society. In Pennsylvania, a medical transport jet carrying a child and 5 others tragically crashed shortly after takeoff. The loss of these lives, including a young patient who had fought so hard to survive, is a heartbreaking reminder of the fragility of life. Our hearts go out to their families and loved ones. As we reflect on these tragedies, let us also remember the resilience and strength of the human spirit. In times of sorrow, we find comfort in coming together as a community, offering support and cherishing the memories of those we have lost. To all those affected, we send our love, strength, and prayers. May you find solace in the support of those around you and in the cherished memories of your loved ones. Thank you for joining us on this episode of DrWhitty Today. Let us hold each other close and continue to support one another through these challenging times. Thank you. Welcome, you're watching DrWhitty Today. Today's discussion focuses on resilience, faith, gratitude, determination, and transformation. Standing at the intersection of law and education, driven by an unwavering passion for advocacy and transformative justice, Dr. Nolen has carved a path fueled by a passion for advocacy and transformative justice. His journey is a tapestry woven with experiences that have shaped him into a doctor of jurisprudence, eager to make a profound impact in special education, civil, criminal, and family law. Previously, Cedric navigated the dynamic world of public and private education as a teacher, coach, administrator, mentor, and leadership coach. His efforts were recognized with 2 Principal of the Year awards and numerous other accolades. Today, Cedric is the owner and CEO of Ced Nolen Productions, LLC, CEO and Chief Facilitator at the Education Agency Group, and the founder and CEO of the Ced Nolen Education Foundation. Whether transforming schools, producing impactful films, advocating and addressing legal challenges for others, Dr. Nolen is driven by a commitment to public service and community engagement. Listeners and viewers here and at home, please welcome our host, Dr. Whitty. Welcome, Dr. Cedric P. Nolen, to the platform. How are you feeling tonight, sir?
Man, I feel amazing, man. That was an amazing intro, man. You really cut that up very well, brother. I am doing oh so well, man. God is good, man. Always will be. You know, we woke up this morning, man, and that's all we really need, man. So I'm blessed on this day. Thank you for asking, man. Appreciate it.
All right. All right. Kudos, and kudos to
Yes,
my
sir.
producer who's holding it down. So kudos to you, Tyree. So anyway, I want to thank you for taking time out to be on the platform today. I know it's been a long time coming. We've talked back and forth, And I just really am glad that you decided to come on the platform, because I know when we initially had our interview,
Mhm.
it was me just kind of, reaching out to you from out of
Mhm.
nowhere,
Mhm.
because I just had stumbled across um, something that I guess some people say it's a poem, but I know when I talked to you, you said it's not a poem. It was just something that you was inspired to write.
Yes, sir.
And so I wanted to make sure that the name of this episode was related to that. I'll call it writing. I won't call it a poem. So that's why this tonight's show is entitled This Man, because just to give the listeners and viewers a little bit of brief, is I was planning to speak. I was invited to speak to some justice involved individuals, and I was trying to think about the theme and what I would talk about, because when you go talk to some people that are behind bars that may not be going home tomorrow or tonight,
Right. Right.
you gotta know you can't just go in there and say anything to them, because you have to be realistic. You want to be inspiring, but you and motivating and all of that
Mhm.
stuff. Still have to be realistic, because at the end of the day, the majority of them, well, if not all of them, are going back to their cell, and they still have several years and maybe even life still behind, bars. So
Right.
I was just thinking about it, and I was on LinkedIn one night, and I just stumbled across, and I saw a photo.
Mhm.
I saw a photo, excuse me. I saw a photo and I saw some writing, and I said, well, I normally don't read uh really long posts. It's like if I
Mhm.
see a lot, sometimes I don't read it, but for some reason I was inspired to read it, and I read it, and then it's like the light bulb went on, and it was like God was like, that's it right there. That's it right there. And so and I'm just gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna read what I came across real quick.
Absolutely.
That I don't know if you titled it "This Man" or not, but that's what I put up there, "This Man,"
Mhm.
and I wrote inspired by Dr. Cedric P. Nolen, and it says as thus: it says, "This man has been through a lot within his borrowed time on God's green earth. This man has been criticized, scrutinized, ridiculed, bullied, put down, betrayed, falsely accused, judged, unsupported, terminated, rejected, a loser, unemployed, and insecure. This man has also been a winner, loved, respected, inspired, inspiring, celebrated, honored, advocated for, spoken highly of, employed, led, championed, motivated, encouraged, uplifted, admired, and blessed beyond measure. This man has had so called mentors turn their back on him when he needed them the most, so called friends and other people destroy him and then thought it was comical. They talk about him behind his back but never say anything to his face. And when in a pinch or bind, this man was left to rot. This man had to endure all that pain, anxiety, and stress because life must go on. And then
Mhm.
it said this man just earned, and I have a blank there, but what I'm assuming is that perhaps you had just earned your doctor of jurisprudence. I don't know. That's
Mhm.
just what I assume reading it. And then
Mhm.
it said, this man will, meaning maybe will accomplish something or do something more in the future for years to come. This man will continue to smile, laugh, and enjoy life because God informed him that everything will work out for his good. It is so, and so it is. This man thanks everyone who have helped him through his darkest times when he was down and out, and more importantly, when he needed them the most. Thank you to all who really wanted to see this man win. This man loves and appreciates you all. This man thanks the Lord for his blessings. This man is still standing. This man is me, Dr. Cedric P. Nolen.
That's right, man. Hey,
So
man.
when I read that, it was like, wow, that is it. And so I was telling you the story about how I talked to that group.
Right.
of
Right.
um, adults in custody,
Mm-hmm.
and I had them recite that particular writing at the end of my speech. I had them recite that particular writing to
Mm-hmm.
their loved ones who were there in the building,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody just absolutely loved it, wanted a copy of it, thought it was a poem, and all of
Wow.
that great stuff. So I wanted to make
Wow.
sure I gave you your credit. So I
Thank you,
made sure I
man.
contacted you immediately to tell you I had used it.
You sure did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it
Yes.
was
Yes.
really a blessing. And so I think we'll start there. I'm going to ask you, what inspired you to write that?
Well, again, thank you for those accolades, man, and acknowledgement. I truly appreciate it. And when you did, contact me and inform me what led you, what inspired you to speak what you spoke to those young men in the prison system, man, it really touched my heart. Because I usually write things. I barely post on any platform. So this one, it meant a lot to me to post that, and the reason why it meant a lot to me to post that is because everything in there was true. And so I'm not a fictional writer. I'm a non-fictional writer. And so what led me to that was just it was just on my heart. I had just accomplished something that less than 2% of the America's population could really earn. And as being an African American male, less than 2%, less than 0.3% have been able to achieve what I've achieved, and that's receiving my law degree and becoming Cedric Nolen Juris Doctor, a doctor of jurisprudence, doctor of law, however you want to call it. Um, and I really wanted to, because at the end of the day, um, I've been not informed per se, but led to keep things on the hush. Keep things to yourself. Don't tell anybody you're doing anything. Have a conversation with God. That's it. Everybody else, it doesn't really matter, because that's everybody is not, and they will not be happy for your success. And but for me to be able to speak from my heart and really put it on my business platform, which is LinkedIn. I just really wanted to show people that you can go through a whole lot, but God has the final say. So everybody else on your left or your right, behind you, maybe even in front of you, that's actually blocking you from you receiving what you want to receive. Don't even worry about it. God got it. If He says whatever God has for you, it's can't nobody take it away. Not a soul. I don't care how much you try, how much they try, because they're not going to be able to take that away. So it was just on my heart, and I spoke from the heart. And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't initially named this man as a title per se, but I am a man, and this man went through a lot, and this man will probably go through a whole lot more. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna always still stand. I'm gonna always smile because I'm heavily favored and so much blessed. I mean, like I said, I'm heavily favored, man. I'm blessed beyond measures, man. I mean, and so that's just my mindset, man. And I love to teach each and teach one. Like if somebody can be inspired from what I went through and what I possibly go through, and what I've accomplished, man, I'm all for that because I feel like now I know that I've been put on this earth to serve others. Servitude has always been number one for me. Everything that I've done within just my career path has been surrounded by serving others. And so it's just a blessing for me to even be able to be in the position I'm in to be able to help others and serve others, man. So to answer just the some your question, it just came from the heart, man. It was real, and it felt real. The words just came out. There was no troubles, with me trying to come up or figure out what words I'm going to use next. It just flowed. It flowed. It flowed. It ended well. The climax was beautiful. I mean, it began well. The climax was beautiful, and it ended even well. So that's how I came up with it, man. You're on mute, Dr. Whitty.
See that? Really excited. Anyway, I was just saying to really tell that it wasn't something that you just sat down and made up. It really it felt like it was from the heart, that it came
Absolutely.
from a pure place. So I was
Absolutely.
very thankful to come across it that particular day, and I was also thankful to be able to share it and have it impact and affect the people
Hmm.
like it did me when I actually read it myself. So thank you, thank you, thank you, and I really do hope that it'll go beyond just well, it already has gone beyond a post on LinkedIn, but hopefully
Right.
even further than that,
Oh
because it
yeah.
is something that will bless and inspire not only men but people in general.
Absolutely,
So,
man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
you're welcome. So we're going to talk a little about you and your journey. We'll
Oh
talk
yeah.
about some journey and inspiration. So I
Okay.
have a couple of questions, and then feel free also if you want to ask me something as we have the conversation, we can do
Sure.
that as well. So I'm going to pose this first question. It is, can you share what initially inspired you to pursue a career at the intersection of law and education?
Well, I began with education. I believe that I grew up with a family of educators. So my parents, my aunts, uncles, cousins. So it's in my blood, if you will. And while I, you know, think when I first entered the journey, um, I knew that I could inspire or have uh, great conversations and teach others to be better than where they thought they were, or be better with the vision or objectives that they may have for themselves later on. I knew I could have those type of conversations because I'm always usually named the voice of reason, and so I'm a great listener. So I was able to really listen to what my kids needed in order for them to be a better citizen in today's society. And so I always had a love for athletics. So coaching, basketball, football, baseball, even coach track. So I think when you have those type of talents, because that's a talent, and when others see it in you, because I really didn't want to teach at all. I started as a substitute teacher, and the principal of my school was like, this was during a time whereas they were looking for more African American males, young, vibrant, that can bring a certain spirit, to the school, as well as a certain spirit to kids, mainly males, because they were in a system that they didn't see that many of us. They seen other strong individuals, but seeing a strong, young, strong black man that's teaching them to be possibly teachers as well was something that I was good at. And I rose through the ranks, as being a teacher, coach, then rose through the ranks through the administrative stage, and just really I ended with being a decorated principal at a school in which I took it from a red school to a green school in 4 short years, and was able to sustain that status for the next 3 going on 4 years. And so It was just something that I was just really good at. I was really good at communicating with others. I was really good at developing others. I was good at listening to see what I need to do to become the best. I was really good at researching. I was really good with data. I was really good at being able to disaggregate the data and create plans that were aligned to the data. So, and I was always able to really teach adults as well as students to really, in lack of better words, to run the play the way it should be ran, as far as look at the data and let's make changes based on what the data is telling us. We have a famous line in education: you start with the end in mind. You don't start with just starting. You start with the end in mind. At the end, you backwards map that, and you create a road that's aligned to it. And so, with that, with my career in education ending, I've always wanted to be a lawyer, and I always wanted to be a lawyer. I talked about it for many years prior, many years during the time I was educator administrator, and but I just didn't have the time. When you're running a school and you have so many lives in your hand, it's just you just don't have that much time. I have had family of my own, so I really just didn't have time to do something for me because I've always been doing things for others. I did everything for everybody before I did. So I want to make sure that all of my goals and everything were met. So that way I could have some time to do something for me. And so when my education career ended, God told me it's time. He said it's time. He said it's time for you to really go in depth with this law within the legal industry. And I looked in the world today, and I've kept seeing individuals that look like me being falsely accused, sitting in jail, sitting in prison without adequate counsel, if you will. And, I want to do something about that, right? Because I just really want to do something about that because what I went through being falsely accused, I don't want that to ever happen to anybody, not even my worst enemy. So I wanted to make sure that I learned the law strategically and effectively, and then be able to be representation for individuals that are going through a lot, that have, been falsely accused, that have, maybe had infractions with the law. I want to be able to be adequate counsel for those individuals. And so I've always been fascinated with the law. I've always been, in a sense, a person to defend someone else, if you will. So it just really kind of, really just was aligned. The stars were aligned, and time is always everything. And it was just the right time for me to really enter into our great profession of law and be able to really change the world or be a part of the solution instead of being part of the problem. And I think that being in the position that I am in, as far as being in the legal industry, it gives me a chance. It just gives me a chance to be a part of an industry, a part of a justice system, and to make it equally fair for others. And that's where my love for law comes from. Just being a fair, wanting fairness within the world today. So that's where I'm at. And it's like I stated earlier, um, servitude has always been in my blood. So I really believe that being a lawyer, a practicing attorney, will lead and open doors to really make a great change in today's society. And I'm not saying I'm gonna change the world, but I take one by one. I'll be fine with that because in education, I was trying to change the world. I was trying to be Superman, trying to change everybody, help everybody, and when you help everybody, um, who's going to help you? And so, being more strategic in how I move within the legal industry to be able to help one at a time and take it day by day is not, it's not only a blessing. I just really, it's a calling for me. It's a calling for me.
All right, thank you.
No problem.
Now, you achieved a lot, even as you were involved in education. And one of the things I did want to ask you about, just what kind of inspiration would you give to those that are in that place right now where you used to be? And I'm talking about in terms of education. What
Hmm.
were some of the key strategies that you implemented to turn around your school and your students' performance? Um,
Oh,
and I
absolutely.
mean, like they were underperforming, and then you did something to make sure that you lift them and help them to sustain success. What were some of these?
Absolutely. I came in with a strong sense of inspiration, because when you are in a failing, so-called failing educational institution, your morale is down. Your hope is no longer in existence. And so, what I wanted to do and what I was able to achieve is I want to bring fire back to the school that I was at. I want to bring fire back to the kids, bring fire back to the teachers that were teaching them on a daily basis, bring fire back to the parents that were the parents of the kids, bring fire back to the community, and just lift everybody up, because we may be down, but we ain't out. We're not out, not just yet. And so my main thing that I really wanted to delve into and take a lot of time into building was the culture of the school, the culture of the community, the culture of the individual. And then I want to make sure that the climate was there as well. And when I speak about climate starts at the security desk, at the front door. When somebody walks into your building, they should be able to feel how hot, how warm, and how cold it is. They should be able to feel that. They should be able to feel the love as soon as they walk through that door, because they will feel it. Because Maya Angelou would say this all. This is a famous line. I keep it dear to my heart. People may not ever know or remember what you told them, but they remember exactly how they made you feel, how you made them feel. And I took that to heart. And so with that, next it was development. I had to build a team. I had to build a solid team that were like-minded like myself, and that had the drive and the inspiration to make sure that the kids that they saw in front of them were going to be superstars. And we started by calling and naming each one of our kids scholars. They weren't just students, they were scholars. We have to speak life, we have to speak life into them, we have to speak excellence within them. And when that was the culture of the building. Everybody had, it was one sound. And so it was the fact that we need to make sure that it's a place of excellence. And so those three or four things that I named really enhanced enhanced students being able to come to school because they wanted to come to school, not because they had to come to school. They wanted to come to school. So when we had that, we knew that we can build something with this school here. And I couldn't do it alone. All right. I may have been the spearhead, I may have been the leader of the building, but I needed my team, each and every one of them. And each and every one of them knew that. And I made sure that I informed them how much that I appreciated them for being a part of my team and being a part of the vision. And so I just think that creating that type of a culture and being able to create a solid team, and kids can feel how adults are treating one another in front of them. I want to make sure that my kids felt that we loved each other in that building, regardless of what we, if we didn't like each other, might have been upsetting at each other yesterday or last week because something just couldn't get done, or this, that. Hey, look, drop that ego at the door. We're not doing that. I don't want our kids to see anybody do anything that's in a negative light. So building the culture, making sure the climate was there, making sure that we had the right team, the right person on the right bus going in the right direction. That made all of the difference. And then now we can start developing. And I was really good at developing my teachers because they listen and they want to be excellent. So while I'm not the best educator in the world, but I'm amongst them, and I wanted them to be able to have that same type of learning as well as development. Because right now, out of my administrative team and my leadership team, I have about 70 to 80% of that team that are now sitting administrators. And so I believe I did an exceptional job within my time in education. And I thank everybody that helped me get to where I got, within that industry. I appreciate everybody. Um, you know, even the ones that didn't want me to make it, I appreciate them too, because they gave me the drive I needed. Because my kids, they were not the best of kids to others, but they were the best to me. They were all my sons and daughters, and they knew it. And so I really wanted to make sure that I was having the right conversations with the right people, and it came to fruition, and we were successful. All of us, even my community members, all of us, we were all successful. All stakeholders, we were all successful. It was just a blessing, man. It really was.
All right. Excuse me. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Um, I guess what I want to do is say if there's a teacher out there in the among the listeners and viewers, because today is really challenging. I know I heard one teacher say if she could just get to actually see the students' faces from them looking down at their cell phone, and then
Oh my God.
cell phone in general in class
Right.
is a total distractor. I'm totally against it. I think um, you definitely should be able to last in school without having your cell phone, but we have
Agreed.
all sorts of excuses and reasons why students should have them.
Right.
But back, I hate to say back in the day, but all I can think about is, if somebody needed to call your mother, they had a phone number, they called her, or
Hmm.
your dad or whatever. It, I don't, I don't, I don't actually get why students should have cell phones in class because it's a distractor. I agree.
It
So I
is.
would just say, what would you tell a teacher that's struggling to um, gain and hold the attention of his or her students? That and a lot of those challenges is the cell phone in
Mhm.
class or whatever.
Okay.
What would you say to them on how to capture that person's focus, or what would you say to students who struggle with actually sitting in class and feeling like they have to be scrolling on social media or whatever? What would you say to them?
Yeah. Yeah. First of all, I don't agree with that either. I don't agree with cell phone use within the classroom setting throughout the instructional day. Absolutely not. Um, but there are different statutes that allow, or jurisdictions that allow students to display the use of cell phone within the classroom setting. And I could understand why it could be. Maybe it's because of research. They may need to research some things, and they have their phone to do so. But we can alleviate that. So, what I would tell a teacher today is that create some rules that everybody agrees on in your classroom with your class, because that's how you get the buy-in from the students, right? So yes, they may be able to use their cell phones during instructional time or during the classroom day, not a problem at all. But in this class, we're not. We're going to have certain intervals in which we are going to be allowed to utilize our cell phones, and it will not be for social media or anything of that nature, right? So create a schedule, create some rules. You may be able to create a schedule with your kids. Say, look, if I get this from you, I will give you 10 minutes, on your phone or what have you. Or you can alternate that and say, you got computers, you got iPads, but they scroll on that too as well. So if we're going to do it, then let's do it the right way. Let's do it the way in which is respectful to every student within that classroom as well as the instructor. Because learning and then being on Instagram and Facebook at the same time, no, that's not going to work. That's not going to work in my classroom. And so I would really suggest that they come up with a plan. It could be a reward system. It could be a researching system, because you can actually create a plan in which they think is fun for them to do, but they're actually learning at the same time, if you catch my drift, right? I'm going to go back to, um, we had during the holidays, you remember those days right before we get out for holiday, Christmas break, and the days we come back, off a long vacation. I knew that my kids and my teachers, for that matter, were going to be restless and ready to go. So what me and my team did is that we created a whole entire day. We called it Fun Day. So we worked for 2 hours, and then the next 6 hours we actually had fun, but it was constructive fun. It wasn't like, oh, okay, everybody just bring the TV out, let's play chess and checkers. No, it was stations. This cluster goes to this station and does this for the next 3 hours or next hour. The next cluster does the same exact thing. And so they re-rotate. And so I'm saying that to say this, that could happen within the classroom. Set boundaries, teachers, create some rules that you all come up with that are reasonable for everybody in that room. And the majority does rules. So it doesn't matter if you don't need 100, all you need is 80. And then you practice those rules and practice that schedule with your students on a consistent basis, and you give them reasons why we're creating something like this, because everybody want to know why this, why that. Give them a reason why. Say it's because I want you all to learn effectively. And scrolling through social media during the course of instructional day when I'm trying to teach, it's not reasonable, it's not respectful, because I always like to put my kids in I would like to put them in our shoes. If you taught this class, would you want your kids, your students to act the way that you're doing? So I always like to put them in another person's shoes. So teachers out there, create something that is conducive for you and your kids, and that's reasonable and respectful to everybody within that classroom. And you implement it and execute it on a consistent basis. Now, I won't guarantee you, but I will say this, that you will see better results. And you continue to do it, it'll get better. You do the same thing, you get same results. You do things different, you get different results. So that'll be my advice to the teachers of the day.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So what
You're welcome.
I'd like to do right now is we're going to take a little short break for a couple commercials.
Okay.
When we come back, we're going to drop a link in the chat and see if there's anybody that may want to come up on the stage to ask you or I a question or make a contribution through a comment about today's show. We'll do that when we come back from commercial. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Duke Got Life is a powerful testament to the strength of the human spirit and the enduring quest for justice. At just 20 years old, professional boxer Charles Duke Tanner had the world at his feet with an undefeated record of 19-0. However, faced with the harsh reality of providing for his family, Duke took a devastating detour into drug dealing, leading to his conviction for a nonviolent drug crime and sentence of 2 life terms. What followed was a grueling 16-year battle against a seemingly unbeatable justice system, culminating in a turn of fate when Duke was granted his clemency petition and set free. Now, Duke travels the country sharing his incredible journey of resilience and transformation. His story is not just about overcoming personal adversity, but also about igniting a movement for prison reform. Through his relentless fight, he inspires others to never give up, no matter how daunting the odds. You can find your copy everywhere books are sold. Dr. Candicia Randolph's book, The Black American Church, Leadership Dispensation and Challenges, critically examines leadership within the Black church, drawing from historical and anthropological perspectives. It identifies challenges faced by this vital institution in the Black American community and proposes practical solutions. The church's impact on Black culture and leadership is explored, emphasizing its historical context and influence over nearly 5 centuries. Through research and data, the manuscript aims to enhance the church's effectiveness and cultural relevance. Get your copy where books are sold today. All right, we're back. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I
All
am,
right.
sir.
So we're going to go ahead and drop that link to see if anybody wants to come up and ask Dr. Nolen a question or make a comment. Can be to myself or Dr. Nolen. So go ahead and drop the link into the platforms. And meanwhile, until we see if we have a taker, we're going to talk about some of the things that you are doing today with your organizations, Dr. Nolen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you, man.
Oh, somebody said, thank you, gentlemen. Your purpose is so impactful for the future of our communities. God bless. Sorry, I have to go. That's all right.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you for being here on the episode, and we hope that you enjoyed what you saw and that you'll come back and review the video later. So thank you for that.
Yes.
All right. So, Cedric Nolen Productions, LLC.
Yes, sir.
So what inspired you to start Cedric Nolen Productions, and what has been your vision for the company?
Well, I started. I've been in the entertainment or film, TV and film industry for almost 25 years, working with my brother, Chris Nolen, well-renowned director, as well as producer and actor. And so he kind of got me into it because I was his executive producer. I'm always his executive producer for his movies. And so I decided to branch off and start my own company about 5 years ago. And the reason for that is because I had some projects that I really want to do on my own, and I wanted to, give others a chance to be able to have their projects produced, under my name, my production company, if you will. And so to date, I've been able to produce over 30 films. I have a few projects in the works right now. I got one that's under a bidding war, if you will. So it's been successful thus far. I can honestly say I haven't had that much time to invest in it, within the last few years. But I do have a strong team and partners that are able, to carry on the work that we've been doing for so long. So I just think that I kind of fell into it, if you will, or enhanced within it, because being under my brother's tutelage and learning, just the ins and outs of the TV and film industry. It was a learning experience for me, and I appreciate it as well because that's just another line of information that I'm able to learn and give to others. So being able to produce independent writer or directors of film is is something that's a vision, that's an objective for me, if you will, to be able to really enhance the new generation or just the individuals that have a project and they just want everybody to see it. And so being able to be the producer of it, of their projects when other companies may not pick it up, that's something that that's something that I've wanted to do for quite some time, and so being able to being able to do that for another is a blessing. So we have some projects in the works right now. Not at liberty, of course, to discuss them because they're still under contract, and so want
I was
everything to
just getting
be
ready to ask you, can you
yeah.
discuss it, brother? But you already beat me to it.
Yeah, yeah, man. I get well, working with my brother. Our next film is called Red Letters, REDD Letters, and so be on the lookout for that real soon. My brother's always on the road doing other things, so once when we get together and really sit down and make things happen, it becomes just a start outlining. So all other projects not at liberty at this moment to discuss.
All right, great. What about the education agency group?
Yes,
What
yes.
what are some of the most impactful professional, excuse me, impactful professional development lessons, um, excuse me, sessions you've created or facilitated?
Well, I think all of them are, but the ones that a lot of administrators want to take advantage of is how to build a high functioning school and what are the tasks or the areas of practice in which one should work within in order to be able to yield those certain results. And so, just the development phase, being able to know how to develop another adult, because we all know with us, well, we get stuck in our ways and we sometimes don't think we have to change because things have been okay for quite so long, but times are changing, and being able to change a person's mindset is one of my professional development sessions that a lot of uh, companies educational institutions will actually utilize. So it's not limited to education for educational institutions. It's a very wide range. Corporations have utilized me in my professional development sessions to be able to run a corporate business, if you will, um, because being an individual with so many non for profits and they're being successful, if you will. Certain other individuals or certain CEOs of their non for profits would like to utilize or get tips on or strategies, if you will, to make sure, or not even to make sure, but to build their own NFP. And so, yeah, those are the main ones. Just being able to the know how to build a high quality, a high functioning culture that leads to a high functioning school, as well as a high functioning corporation or business, as well as being able to change the mindset. Because changing the mindset is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't even happen within a year time. So we almost looking like maybe 5 to 10 years before a mindset can really be changed. So It has to be embedded in you. And one thing about my professional development sessions, how I write them, how I structure them, it's always structured, inwardly. It has to be inward. It has to be from the heart, it has to be from your soul. Because if you're not, if it doesn't come from your heart and your soul, what are you really doing it for? What are you really doing it for? And so that brings about, you're not liking what you do because it doesn't come from the soul or the heart. So I strategically designed my PD sessions that are aligned for inward display of work ethic and initiative.
Thank you. Just hearing you say that, it excuse me, it makes me think about my work as a coach. And you're right, it's no easy feat. Paradigm shifts, mind shifts, transformation, whatever you want to call it. It takes time.
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that happens overnight.
So,
And it takes a lot of patience, because many times uh, and not just people, but even us ourselves, we can be so set in our ways, and we have to be intentional about change. And
yes,
until we are intentional about the change, then it's hard for us to develop that mindset to change. So
that's right.
that's just something that I was thinking about as you were talking about it being a process, and it may not happen tonight. It may not happen in 3 weeks. It may not happen in 3 years. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's where a lot of people get discouraged, is they place a time frame. They restrict their change or restrict their transformation into a specific date or a specific week, month, or year. And when it
Right.
does, if it doesn't happen, I won't say when it, but if it doesn't happen in that time frame, then it's like, I tried that, it didn't work. But
Mm-hmm.
it's like, it may have taken us 30 years to be who we are, but we expect
Yep.
in 3 weeks that everything is going to change, and then now we're different. And that's not how it works. It takes a creative process,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to stick it out for as long as it takes. And I'd even dare say, be willing to accept that there are some things that just may not ever change in whatever in your whole lifetime. It may not, but there are
Right.
other things that may change. So
Mm-hmm.
but all in all, we have to be willing. So I thank you
Absolutely.
for that information that you just shared.
No problem.
Um,
Anytime.
what inspired you to create the Ced Nolen Education Foundation?
Well, various reasons. I remember being a high school kid and me waiting till the 13th hour to apply for colleges, right? And not thinking and knowing how I was going to pay for it. So I just thought, my parents had a money tree and the school gonna get paid back from the money tree in the backyard. But it wasn't like that. It wasn't like that at all. And I wish I would have, you know, started earlier to apply for scholarships and grants and things of that nature. Uh, I just wish that I had. Well, I just wish that I could have, you know, did displayed or executed that process better. So with that in mind, I wanted to bring awareness to high schoolers, whether you're a freshman, sophomore, definitely junior, senior, that this is what this process looks like if you want to go to a higher learning institution, education institution. If you want to go to college, you have to start at least 2 years in advance. You have to make sure you take all of those examinations so that way you can be able to have a choice and build your college plan. And so, I wasn't, that in the top 10 of my class, and was really looked at, like, oh, he's going to get a scholarship. No, I wasn't that individual. And so when you're in high school, when you are the cream of the crop, you know what your future looks like. But when you're at the bottom of the barrel, per se, one may say that you know what your future looks like as well. But what about those individuals in the middle? What about the C average students? What about the low B students? They good enough to go to college, but not good enough to get 100% funding or the majority of the funding. So what I want to do is that I wanted to tap in to a specific set of students. And those were the individuals that had the 2-3 and the 3-2, and be able to have them to go through a scholarship process with my foundation so they can be able to know how to complete a scholarship application, know how to interview if you're called upon for them to have a one-on-one with you, and be able to know how to dress when you are within that one-on-one interview, to be able to talk them into, or not even talk them, but to convince them to give you some money and be able to invest in your future. So I created the Cedric Nolen Education Foundation to align to that, because I wanted kids to be able to, you know, have an opportunity to go to college. Because when you are in college and you don't have what everybody else has, you might roommate with somebody that they're wealthy. They were born with a silver spoon in their mouths, and so you're there to get the education so you can be able to be wealthy later on, but you don't have it now. So I want to keep that in mind too. So the finances that we gave our students, um, they were not limited to books and books, tuition, and room and board. It was, they could do anything they wanted to do with that money if it was college related. With that, I'm saying, if you, because we all know we in college, that the kitchen, lunchroom food, if you want a dining room food, it might be the same 3, 4 days in a row. What about on Saturday when you want to just, you might want to buy a pizza, or you might want some chicken wings from Domino's, or you just want to, you want to buy some clothes to go to school and look right. You can utilize that money in order for you to do so. So I believe that tapping into to that specific set of students, it really enhance their college knowledge and also their initiative to want to go to school. Because at the end of the day, you know, everybody wants to work, get a job, make money, the whole nine. But at the end of the day, going to school back then, you know, was something that was talked about a lot. Without, it was an expectation, it was inevitable, But now you can do either or. But when I started or developed the Education Foundation, it was geared towards students that were good enough to get into college, but not great enough to get a scholarship so they could be funded while they're in college. So that was my objective, and that was my mission to be able to really send kids to school with a little extra money in their pocket for them to do what they want to do with it if it was college related. So if you're in school, you can use the money for whatever you want to. Just make sure that you're still in school. And it was some parameters that they had to go through too. Now, it just wasn't like I'm gonna give you $3,000 and here you go. No, you had to you had to meet some checkpoints. You had your grade point average had to be 2.5 or above. And in some cases, we started with making sure that there was 3.0, just so we can increase the expectations, so they just want to be covered, one just be going right there to it. So you want to kind of increase the expectations so they can be able to rise to that occasion. But it kind of deferred from our mission when we began the foundation anyway. So we wanted to make sure that 2.5 was a sufficient and a reasonable grade point average to maintain. But informing them that, if you get a little higher, it might increase your chances to post grad, but not necessarily because you can still be successful with a 2.0. You can be successful with a 1.5 if it comes down to that. So I just really wanted to tap into a specific market of kids, so they can really, increase their knowledge of college and increase their knowledge of how to get into college and stay in college and be able to have some finances while they're there.
All right, and I'm glad. I'm glad, and I'm pretty sure that they were very appreciative too. And I like how you said it wasn't just free money, but there
Right.
were expectations, and they were held to a standard if they were going to be able to enjoy having that reward, if you will.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So I just have a few more questions before we wrap it all up.
No
Um,
problem, man.
these are personal reflections and about goals. So, what advice would you give an individual that um, have faced or is facing similar challenges in their careers or personal lives?
Well, first, keep God first. Pray. Um, Strategize your moves. Okay, got to do that because everybody watching. Everybody watching you. Just make sure you watching them watch you. Uh, be able to really uh, hold yourself to a standard. Hold yourself to an even higher standard. Right. Uh, you know, just keep doing what you're doing. Just keep doing what you're doing and do it for the right reasons. Okay, because you know right and you know right from wrong. Okay, if you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. Simple as that. So just keep God first. Keep smiling. Keep praying because everything is going to be all right. Everything is going to be just fine. Keep your emotions intact because that's where a lot of issues come in. That when individuals' emotions just when emotions high, they make emotional decisions. I ain't never met an emotional decision that was a right decision. Never. So keep your emotions intact. Always have self control. Keep God first, and just know that everything is going to be all right.
All right. Last question I have is how do you envision continuing to make a positive impact in your community and beyond?
Well, I'm going to finish what I started. And that's just to be the best server, in the world today. Because that's all I know. I know my calling is servitude. And so, being in law, being a lawyer, with the foundations, my companies, being business partners with other companies, my mission is to serve each other, to serve us, and I want to continue to do that, and I want to continue to set consistent goals. Um, so I just want to be able to continue to do that on a daily basis and be able to do what I need to do in order to obtain those goals and be able to bring in others to help me reach our goal, and that's to make sure that we are all living in today's society as great citizens of today, because it's though it's no other way to go but up and positive. Having positive individuals in your life or having positive individuals in my life, I need I go with that. I don't surround myself with negativity at all. If it's something negative, I don't want to hear it. Um, I'm not going to defend myself to anybody, because all I do is spit facts, and that's just it. I'm not defending myself, because that's just not unless we're in the court of law. because when you start defending yourself to others, people are going to have their impression of you anyway. They are. You can't stop it. You can't change it. You got to embrace it, respect it, and keep it going. So I just think that, like I stated earlier, I'm a man of servitude, and I'm going to continue to serve. And being in the legal field is one of the best ways to really uphold my objective and uphold my vision for the world today. Because I mean, we're going through a lot today, ladies and gentlemen, and I got one word that will eliminate all of it, and it's love. We just got to continue. We just got to continue to love on each other and inspire one another. Stop talking down to another person. Stop talking negative about that person. Speak positive thoughts within that person's atmosphere. Be a positive person. Don't be a negative person. Be a positive person. Okay, because like I stated before, everybody's watching you. You just got to make sure you're watching them watch you. So just be a positive person. Love on each other, guys. It will be a better place if we had just a tad bit more love. I really think that. I truly do. 'Cause I love everybody. I respect everybody. I don't speak negative into anybody's atmosphere because that's just not me. I'm not going to do that. I'm all about positivity, and that's why I lie right here. I'm a positive individual, and that's just it. Regardless of what you've done to me, how wrong, the wrong you did to me, or whatever. What you said about me, what you said behind my back, what you said to the left of me, to the right of me, or to say somebody else. Hey, it is what it is. I forgive you. I forgive you. Period. That's it. I forgive you because I'm still here. I'm gonna be here for a while, Lord willing.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Nolen, for being on the platform.
Thank you for
Just
having me, man.
no problem. And hopefully this won't be the last time, but I wanted to say, as you started off and you said finish what you started. And I immediately thought of one of the things that I always say to whenever I'm talking to people, students, my clients for coaching, anybody that sets out to do anything. And one of the things I always tell them is remember why you started.
Hmm.
And you said finish what you started. And it just makes me think of when I tell people, remember why you started, because that is going to be the fuel that you use when you get to those intersection and segues,
Yes, sir.
where you contemplate whether or not you still want to achieve your goal, or if you want to quit. But if
That's
you
right.
remember the reason why you said, hey, I'm going to pursue this goal,
That's right.
you use that as your fuel to continue. And so
Hmm.
I just want to thank you for being on the platform. And I want to continue that. I want to continue, not I want to continue, but I want you to continue in that peace of mind
Thank you.
that you have. It's something that we all have to make sure that we do, not only when we come under fire, but even just throughout your regular day, to just make sure that you just be loving and try to be at peace with yourself, peace with
Yes, sir.
others,
Yes,
peace
sir.
with your decisions, and even be at peace when you fail.
Yes,
Um,
sir. Yes.
so
Yes. Yes. That
and
that
just
that
know
makes
that
it.
Yeah, and just know that peace is not necessarily um, it's not necessarily meaning that everything is going to go your way, but it just means that that you're living a life, and that peace is the absence of all negative emotion, all negativity.
Yes,
So you
sir.
want to make sure that you're not living in fear, anger, jealousy, or hatred, um,
Yeah.
or guilt or grief.
Hmm.
So wipe
Absolutely.
all of that out and just be at peace. I'm going to say to all of the folks that are watching, and in particular, since we talked about educators and teachers,
Hmm.
and one of my favorite teachers that is out there, um, I'm going to say I heard this the other day, and I wrote it down because I just thought it was excellent, and I wanted to make
Mhm.
sure I remember. But it says, "A poor teacher complains, a good teacher explains, an
Mhm.
excellent teacher demonstrates, but
Mhm.
a great teacher inspires." And so I
Ah,
want to thank you for being a great teacher,
thank you,
because
man.
only great teachers can make the impact that you made uh, while you were in that educator role.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
not only you, but those that are out there, those that aspire to do good work, um, inspire. That's what
That's
you're
right.
there for. You're there to inspire. And through that inspiration, your students will develop, they'll grow, they'll learn, and they'll do what Dr. Nolen said earlier. They will want to come to class, they will want to participate, they will even want to change,
Oh, yes,
all
sir.
because you inspired them through your demonstration of continued love and support.
Yeah, absolutely,
So, Dr.
man.
Nolan, with that said, well, you close us out with a closing thought, but also let the
Yes,
listeners
sir.
and viewers know how they can contact you outside of being on Dr. Whitty today.
Oh man, all right. Thank you. Like I said, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure to sit here and speak to you on your show. Thank you for having me. It's much appreciative. You could you can contact me on LinkedIn, and that's my name, Cedric Nolen JD. So if you want to contact me via LinkedIn, that's definitely appreciate it. No other social media sites. No Instagram or Facebook, if you will. No Twitter. I'm just working with the my business platform here. Okay, so but I do want to leave the audience with this quote, if you will, and it's a very active quote that I actually live by on a daily basis. It reads this: "Let your generosity be a testimony of His grace in your life. In serving others, you bring His light into their day." I want to say that again. Let your generosity be a testimony of His grace in your life. In serving others, you bring His light into their day. And just like you just said, Dr. Whitty, um, great teachers inspire. And I'm just blessed with the opportunity to be able to have inspired so many. And I thank those individuals for being inspired because I do want to inspire others because you just like me, you can do exactly or be even better. So look, take me for as an example. Been through a lot, and hey, I'm still here doing well, and I'm just appreciative for everything that I've received. One would always ask me, someone would ask me, if you could change anything in your life, what would you change? And I'll simply say nothing, because everything that I've done, everything that I've been through within my life, this has been done for a reason, and I won't take that back for anything. Period. Enough said.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Nolan.
Man, appreciate
Um,
it, man.
Thank you to the listeners and viewers out there. Just remember that we are here every other Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have great shows coming up, and we hope that you will make sure that you tune in for each of them. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, X, and TikTok under Dr. Whitty. So with all that being said, we appreciate everybody for your viewership. We appreciate you, Doc. Make sure you stand by for the after show,
No
and
problem.
we'll talk for a little bit after the show. So thank you, listeners and viewers. We'll see you next time right here on DrWhitty Today. Take care. Thank you for joining us on DrWhitty Today. We appreciate your time, and your viewership is the heartbeat of our show. If you enjoyed this episode, hit the like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and most importantly, subscribe. Your support keeps us going, and we can't wait to have you back. So hit the notification bell to find out each time we air live. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, stay motivated, and stay tuned.